Conclave 2023, the unprecedented election of Pope Francis's successor. When it comes to choosing the next pope, there's always an air of mystery and anticipation. But this time around, the conclave that will elect Pope Francis's successor promises to be unlike any before it. What makes this election so special? Let's dig into the story behind the cards, the global reach of the Church, and the shifting face of papal power. First off, the conclave's composition is expanding in new, unexpected directions. Over the past 12 years, Pope Francis has been actively reshaping the College of Cardinals, appointing members from 76 countries, including some that had never before had a voice at the Vatican's most exclusive table. Countries like Sweden, Haiti, Myanmar, El Salvador, Luxembourg, and South Sudan now have representatives, a sign of his focus on reaching the peripheries, not just geographically but spiritually too. Of the 252 cardinals in the college, 135 are eligible to vote, those under 80 years old, but all have a say in the discussions leading up to the conclave. Imagine the conversations happening in those rooms, diverse, worldly, and increasingly global. For instance, Ireland's sole member, Cardinal Sean Brady, is over the age limit and can't participate in voting, but he still weighs in. Now, about the potential for change, around 80% of the voting cardinals were appointed by Francis himself, hinting that his influence may steer the future of the Church's leadership in a similar mold. Of course, when it comes to the Holy Spirit guiding this centuries-old process, nothing is set in stone. Even Pope Benedict XVI, a theological heavyweight, had doubts. In a 1997 interview, he expressed that the Spirit might not pick the Pope directly but rather leaves room for human free will. So, while many believe divine guidance plays a part, the outcome remains a complex mix of faith, politics, and personality. The upcoming days are crucial. This weekend marks the first meeting where many of the 135 eligible cardinals will meet face-to-face for the first time, an introduction that could influence how they see the Church's future. Historically, before Francis's election in 2013, a series of general congregations set the stage for the conclave, with Francis himself participating in only one of them. Interestingly, he famously called for a church that isn't obsessed with internal debate but reaches out to those on the margins, embodying the very spirit he hopes the next pope will carry. His words about church, self-referential tendencies and the call to serve peripheries echo today as the Church searches for a leader who can continue that mission. That speech was spontaneous, and Francis's clarity then made a lasting impression, so much so that his Cuban counterpart, Cardinal Jaime Ortega, asked for a copy. Speaking of the Church's changing demographics, Francis's appointments have lowered Europe's dominance in the College of Cardinals, from over half in 2013 to around 40%. The Americas and Asia-Pacific have grown in representation, with Asia-Pacific now making up 18% of voting-age cardinals, and Africa rising to 12%. Yet, paradoxically, Latin America, home to nearly half of the world's Catholics, remains underrepresented at just 18%, a fact that adds a layer of complexity to the election process. All these shifts suggest that the next pope could come from a vastly different background than some might expect, reflecting a more global, diverse church. As the conclave draws nearer, everyone is watching closely, knowing that this election will shape not just the Church's leadership but its direction for decades to come.